There you go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. First of all, how is everybody today? Thumbs up if you're good. Okay. So thank you for joining us today for the Value Added Tuesday that we do every other week in the HeartLink Network online community. And since we're in this state where things seem to be changing every single day in regards to what we're supposed to do, what we're not supposed to do, now, we're all online. So we're learning how to use this technology. And there's some exposure that we have now that we're all online with our vital information. And I met Sandra Estok. Is that the correct pronunciation, Sandra?
Yeah, perfect. That is perfect.
About a year ago at a seminar called the Rockstar Marketing Event, and we hit it off. She had just become a best-selling author recently, shortly before that, and she told me that she was an expert in cybersecurity. And I thought that would be a valuable asset to have in our HeartLink Women's Networking community. So I invited her into the community. She's introduced herself a couple of times. She's not local, so I have not been able to have her at a meeting in person. So the timing of having to do our meetings online couldn't have been more perfect. And then as I was hearing about all these things we have to be more careful about online, I just thought, wow, what perfect timing to bring Sandra on to educate us today on what we need to be paying attention to. So Sandra, thank you so much for giving me your time, because I know you're in high demand. You're very, very busy right now, and you typically charge for this kind of thing. So I'm so grateful that you're coming in here to share with us. And although for some reason my functionality isn't showing up to do this live, so I apologize to those of you who are trying to watch it live on Facebook, we will share this far and wide afterwards, and all of you are welcome to share it with your communities because it is important and it'll protect us. So take it away, Sandra.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Caprice, for inviting me. And I'm so excited to be with you today. I think, I like to start with sharing something personal. So why did I start this journey of cybersecurity and writing my book and, being passionate about cybersecurity? And it started many years ago. I was returning from visiting my mom in Colombia. I'm in the plane, and as we land in Miami, the pilot said, "Welcome to Miami. Please cooperate with Homeland Security officers that are boarding now." So I handed them my passport with my work visa at the time. That was my status in the country. And next thing I know, I'm the only person that is being walked off the plane, escorted by the two Homeland Security officers, and is thrown into the room, that famous room that we all know, or that, exists. So of course, no phone calls. I didn't know what was going on. My husband was waiting for me in Chicago, and I'm about to miss my connecting flight. 10 hours later, they handed back my passport, and my passport was revoked. So few weeks later, I'm in Venezuela, my native country, and I'm trying to get a new visa with my former employer attorney's help. I had, a lot of support. And I'm in the interview in Venezuela. And I go and they start asking me questions about China. And why were you in China? Who do you know in China? Who is your contact in China? I'm like, I don't know what they are talking about. I've never been in China. Well, somehow what happened is that a Chinese smuggler got a hold of my information and had been smuggling women into the US using my identity.
Oh my gosh.
So I convinced them I'm not a smuggler from China, and they gave me my new visa and everything was okay. So 2 weeks later, I'm returning from Europe, and I get off the plane, I get to passport control, and I march right back into that room, because I have to prove that I'm the real me over and over every time I travel for 6 years. When I Googled my name, everything was in Chinese. And can you believe nobody wanted to travel with me? Not even my own husband. So it was super crazy. Now everything is okay. I have my US citizenship, my passport. I actually changed my name. And, I never thought I could be a victim of identity theft or cybercrime. And the reality is it can happen to anyone, regardless of where you are from or what do you do for a living. And this is what inspired me to write the Happily Ever Cyber series and share my message and share, what I have over 20 years of experience in IT, cybersecurity, and data privacy, which is ironic that my identity got stolen.
Yes.
But, but it happens. And now, I am on this quest to help, families, businesses, and, and you to protect whatever you care to protect. So that could be your financial information, your health information, your business information, your identity. So whatever that is for you, that is very important. That's what, we can work together. And there are many things that, we can do to protect our information from hackers, scammers, cyber monsters. So right. I'm just going to pause right here and see if there are any questions or.
Sure, Sandra, I appreciate that. So I want to ask you, because you obviously have a strong why for doing this, why you decided to go in, you just shared with us because of your experience in wanting to help others protect themselves. But what is different about your approach to cybersecurity than others out there?
Of course. I mentioned that I work in the industry before, and I created programs, either cybersecurity programs or training programs. And what I found is the majority of the things are very technical, are very dry, are very either fear-based or so overwhelming. So what is different about my approach is I am using stories, and yes, they are my stories, but every time I finish a training session or a speaking engagement, at the end of that session, and when some of the audience come to talk to me, they said, "Oh, I loved your story. Wow. But this is what happened to my mom. This is what happened to my grandma. This is what happened to my friend." So my story becomes their story, your story. So why it's different? It's because I want to relay cybersecurity. I believe that when we make it personal, when we make that connection, our brain change and now we care. And now it's easier for us to take action. And it's not based on fear. I'm not going to be telling you horror story because that's not going to help you. In my experience, the more we connect and the more that we can either empower or inspire or connect, the more chances are that you'll be taking some of the learning today and applying that to your family, to your business, and to your personal life. So that's what is different about me and my approach.
That's great. So I saw that you have on your book, oh, there you are, Holly. For some reason, you're straight. You're on the speaker view for some reason. Let me, I don't know why you're there. So.
Oh, because I was changing my mute.
Okay.
That's all. I was making noise.
So on your cover, you talk about protecting from cyber monsters. So talking about horror stories, you have something called a cyber monster. So can you tell us what that is?
Of course. Before I tell you what a cyber monster is, I do have a question for you and anyone else that want to jump in. So when you were a kid, did you remember, were you afraid of the dark? And did you remember the monsters under the bed or the boogeyman? And how was that for you? Tell me.
Gosh, I remember that not too long ago, actually. That's when I watched The Grudge. I had to put the covers over my head. No, but yes, lots of monsters under the bed. How about anybody else?
Oh, definitely. Definitely monsters under the bed. Monsters in the closet. Those are the ones I was worried about. The ones in the closet. Yep.
Yeah. I'm with you, Caprice. I had a scary dream the other day, and I was like, "What?" So it's like, yeah, the fears are real, and they're still there, right?
Yeah. Well, for me, when I was 7 years old, I was terrified of the monsters under the bed. We call it el coco in Venezuela. So I developed a technique to keep the monsters under the bed or el coco away from me. This technique consisted in sneaking into my mom's bed in the middle of the night. And as long as I touched my mom with my 2 hands and my left foot, which I was protected. And the monsters wouldn't scare me anymore. That was, what I used, and it worked. Now, the monsters under the bed, of course, don't exist. They aren't real. They don't scare us anymore. I do have to confess that I still put my 2 hands and my left foot on my husband's body to this day. To your point of having a dream, I'm like, oh, this is my protection. So so it works. So whatever, cover or thing that you have, just keep doing it. Now, those were the monsters under the bed. They weren't real. Now, the monsters that I'm talking about, they are very real. I call them cyber monsters, and they are behind a computer. They are behind a phone or an electronic device. And these monsters can be big, powerful, and they can be anywhere, because technology, you can be anywhere with technology. And the one thing for these cyber monsters is that they could be pretending to be your grandma, when in reality they are that wolf that want to eat you. So how I describe each of the cyber monsters, there are different reasons why cybercrime happens. And there is a business portion of cybercrime, and it's a very lucrative. Like, did you know that the cybercrime surpass the entire drug trade in the world? So there is more profit in the in the cybercrime than selling traditional drugs or any other illicit activity. So that's why it happens, and it will continue to happen. There are some cyber monsters that they have a social reason, a political reasons, and each of these cyber monsters are described in the book. I think for sake of time, I'm just gonna very high level mention their intentions, because I think it's important to know they exist and what they do. And most importantly, what kind of information they want from us. As business owners, one of the type of cyber monsters, it's called NASUMO, and it's nation states. And, countries have hacking techniques, and that has happened for either political reasons and economical reasons, technical reasons. So they hack other countries, and they hack other people. Now, as business owners, we will say, why do we care about a nation? Well, in the last few years, these nation states have been targeting small business owners and have been targeting consumers, because it's an easy point of entry. One of the things of cyber monsters is they like easy things. They like easy, prey, and they don't want to take a lot of time trying to get your information. So the more they can infect you, the fastest, the better. So if as a nation they want someone in, that is related to you, you might be that entry point to that person. So it doesn't mean necessarily you are the target, but you know someone that knows someone's that knows someone's that can get that cyber monster access to whoever at the end of the day they want to have access to.
That's so interesting, Sandra, because I think that there might be a misperception that that's not really true. That it's not a real threat. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And another, as business owners, like last year in 2019, 43% of all the cyber attacks happened to small businesses.
Wow.
And I mean, you think about, you know, the healthcare industry, the finance industry, like big money makers. And small business owners were 43% of all the hacks or data breaches that happen. And why is that? Is even though the profit might not be as impactful, it's much easier. And there are so many businesses. And one of the sad things is the majority of the business owners that get hacked are out of business within 6 months because they don't have the capacity, the financial, you know, capability like a corporation to either pay, you know, everything that they have to pay, or they don't have enough income to compensate for that big loss. So, you know, it just put things into perspective why cybercrime is here and it's not going to stop, because it's a profitable business. And I will say, similar to how you and I have business goals, some cybercrime organizations have business goals, and they say, we need this many credentials, and everything that is hacked, there are reasons. So the information is sold. So it's like it changes hands. So your account, if you have a Facebook account and I can get your user, your password, and that information, I can sell that for this much money. If I have your PayPal account, I can sell it for this much. If I have your credit card, it's this much. If I have your social security number, your address, your name, like, you know, the more information I can have about you, the more expensive I can charge for that information. And in some cases it's for financial gain, but in other cases, like my identity, if you think about my identity, there was not a financial gain because the smuggling was just happening. So I didn't have an impact financial, but I have an impact, you know, in my entire life. So sometimes kids' identities are stolen. And last year, almost 1.5 million kids lost their identities. I mean, you don't think about that. They're not even in the system. So when they are 18, and then boom, you know, their identity and their social security number, it's now compromised. And, you know, you have to go through that painful process of recovery. So it's a big problem. But I don't want you to just breathe with me because there are many things we can do together to reduce the chances of that happening to all of us. And that's why I'm here to help.
Wonderful. So considering what we're going through now, you know, we've got all that, you know, just like a lot of things we're becoming more aware of the importance of right now. We need to become more aware of the importance of protecting ourselves from these cyber monsters. Shifting a little bit to the current environment with coronavirus, there's been some advantages, you know, some I guess lower hanging fruit for these people to get in and take advantage of us. So what would be the tips what are the 5 key things that we should be paying attention to?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for that question. Very important in this particular moment. And I will say, not only in a coronavirus crisis, but in any kind of situation where a lot of people is interested. So if you are doing, is tax season, so just know that time frame is also a time where cyber monsters will target you. You know, if it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or the holidays, shopping season, you know, that's going to be another one. Like seasonal, the Olympics are another opportunity that they have. So it's not just about the coronavirus, it's anything that is popular. So right now, of course, coronavirus is the center of our life. And because of that, we have seen so many, not only emails, links that are related to the coronavirus that are, you know, pretending to be from a health organization or pretending to be from a media outlet that are infected. So the 5 things that I will suggest each of us to do is, number 1, anytime you receive an email from a source, you know, from a friend, a coworker, it doesn't matter who that is giving you a story about the coronavirus, I just want you to stop, breathe, and then I will say count 1, 2, 3 before clicking on anything. And if that information that you see in your screen is that important, what you need to do is go to the source. So if it's saying, okay, this is the cure of the coronavirus and it's coming from the World Health Organization, just go to their website and look for that information. If it's coming from another media outlet, just go to that source and validate it's coming from there. So that will be the best thing that you can do to protect yourself and to protect your family. So number 1, not clicking on links or opening attachments.
So Sandra, what are they attempting to do by sending a fraudulent message like that?
So when they are infected, they contain a program, it's called malware, that gets installed in your computer. And there are many different types of malware. Some of them are designed to encrypt your computer. So it will block your computer and now you cannot access anything. That's called ransomware. And the sad part is happening a lot in hospitals right now. Like in the middle of this crisis, someone sends an email and someone in the healthcare opens that and the entire network of that hospital is compromised. And, now you cannot access your patients' records, and now you cannot attend the people that are dependent on you to leave. So that's why it's such a big problem. Now, for you personally, think about the things that you have in your computer, your files, your taxes, your business information. Think about your pictures, your family documents, anything that you have could be, infected if you click in the wrong link and it gets locked. And it's usually done because of a ransom. So they are going to tell you, pay me $1,000 and I'll give you this back. Your files, and it may or may not happen. So you might pay the money and never recover your files, or so that's why the number 1 is not clicking on anything. The number 2, this is it's back up your information. So have the more sensitive information you have somewhere besides your computer. So if something happened, you can access that and you can restore, and you don't have to pay somebody else to, for you to get access to your information. I will say number 3, another type of scam that is happening with the coronavirus is phone calls. And there are a number of phone calls that, for family members, like, oh, you're this because we share so much in social media. So you have a lot of relatives and a lot of information that can be used from our own profiles. So they call you and they say, okay, this person, your aunt, is in the hospital and we don't have things to take care of her, so we need you to wire us this much money because there are no beds, or whatever story they'll tell you. If you want your family member to leave, just wire this money to us. And of course, I mean, you think about a parent or a grandparent that gets that phone call. I mean, we are already in a state of fear and uncertainty, and you know, just a very difficult time for us to process. So again, anything that you receive that relates to coronavirus, just question it. Don't react. Just make sure that you validate where is it coming from. So that would be number 3 with phone calls. I will say number 4 is updating your computer, your phone, and all your devices. Every time that you don't update your phone, you are giving a chance to a hacker, or scammer, or cyber monsters to get into your phone, because that's how they exploit those. I call it open holes. So imagine that, you know, your house have windows and you have a broken window, and you don't fix that broken window. And you go to bed and you're thinking about that broken window, that somebody can come in through that broken window, but you don't fix it. And then there is another broken window, and then it's another one. And, suddenly your house is full of holes. That's how your computer or your phone is when you don't update it. So all these open holes that your programs, your, applications have are entry points for someone to just get in and sneak into your house and scare you.
Gosh, that is such a great analogy, Sandra. I mean, that's powerful. Never heard it stated that way. I had no idea that was part of the reason why we update.
Yes. So an example, perfect example, is all the Zoom thing that is happening, because again, there are some vulnerabilities in that and many other applications. I'm not talking just for Zoom, but so many others where if you don't update it, they can come in and Zoom bomb a meeting or do other things, unfortunately, that are not very nice. So that's number 4 advice, is just update your phones, your computers, and all your devices.
Sandra, what's a Zoom bump?
Oh, a Zoom bump. It's been happening in the last 2 weeks, where if you have a Zoom, like right now we have this Zoom conversation, and somebody found a way to enter this meeting. It happened with school sessions or with university classes or AA meetings. And what happened is, like, someone in front of kids came in and got naked in front of everyone.
Oh,
so
wow.
The kids were there. So that happened. Or in a AA meeting, someone was yelling that alcohol is the best, and start using some words, and that means you're going through a tough time. You're in a meeting because you're having maybe a difficult moment in your life with all the coronavirus, and someone jumps into the meeting and tells you that. I mean, how disruptive and how impactful that is. So that's just a couple examples of what is being happening. And the best way to protect that, I will say, is if you have a Zoom meeting, add a password into that meeting, so that way they cannot get in. So most of the meetings right now don't require you to have a password. You have a number, but that's not strong enough. So they have been using some programs to guess some of the passcodes, like to enter meeting, and that's how they got into many organizations and many places. So so which gets me into my final recommendation, and this is about passwords. And I have a different approach to passwords, because I am a believer on the power of intentions, declarations, affirmations. I use them every day. So my advice and my recommendation is, why don't we use our passwords to work for us? So when you create your password, make it a phrase that means something to you. So every time you type that password, in your mind, you're telling yourself, I'm awesome, I'm the best person, I'm going to have a wonderful day, I'm healthy, I'm powerful, I'm whatever is your thing. And you have to type that so many times during the day that it's the most amazing thing. For me, many things that I wanted in my life became a reality because I use that power of affirmation, and my passwords are my tool to get that to become my reality. And it's just a different, rather than me typing 1, 2, 3, 4, F. So I use that phrase. And the trick for you is, you are going to replace, let's say the phrase is, I am successful. I am successful. You, instead of the I am, you could replace number 1 for I, or you can replace that with a exclamation point. So every time you have an I or an A, you replace it, with different characters that, make sense to you. When you see an O, you can replace it with a 0. When you see an L, you can replace it with a number 1, or with an L, or a T, or, you get my point. Just replace numbers and special characters, and that makes your phrase complex, but only you know what it means. So when you type, 1 at M, it's I am. Only you know that. Or if you do 1 percentage symbol M, that means for you I am. I mean, you can make up whatever you want, and you type it every day, and you tell that nice phrase every day, many times a day.
Yeah. Don't use any of those ones.
Yeah, don't use those. Those are just examples.
Awesome. Wow. So that was very helpful, because a couple of the things I wasn't aware of. I mean, a lot of them I feel irresponsible for not paying attention to. We've always heard back up everything. And now there's no better time than now to take those things seriously.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that you want to offer us before we close? Or are there any questions? Put some questions.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, if anyone has a question.
I do. I use a password saver on my computer that then will automatically, with a password, obviously.
Yep.
And I have a variety. I probably have 100 different passwords. And they're all pretty complicated. Do you have any problem with that? I mean, if somebody gets into my computer, they can steal all my passwords?
No. What you want to do is exactly, having a password manager is the best you can do right now. So congratulations for that.
Yeah, I have that.
So that first password that you have to make sure it's very, very strong.
It is.
And very long.
It is
because
that long.
It is that long. So I will say, make it something meaningful to you if you want. If not, you can keep it. But as long as you don't write that password anywhere, that people can get in, or have I've seen sometimes you put it into a whiteboard, and then you take a picture of yourself in your office, and somehow your password is in the back. Yeah, I've seen that. Just make sure that doesn't happen, or
So that brings me to a question too. Oh, finish that comment. Sorry.
Yeah, because I have a question right away.
Well, good job. How do we get one of those password managers?
They're on just Google password manager.
Okay.
And like mine is a RoboForm. They have a bunch of different ones, and you can just set it up online, and then you don't have to have the same password. I have a different password for every application. Every single application.
That's so hard, because then you have to remember them all. So the password manager does that for you.
Does that for you, and it automatically fills in. So when you get onto your, I don't know, whatever application you're looking for, your bank, for example, okay? The password automatically fills in through this password protector.
That's cool.
But you have to put in your master password before it will even start. And the master password has to be pretty tricky.
Okay.
And there are so many different products in the market. So
I would
say, so there are I will say top brands that I work with, Dashlane, LastPass, OnePass. If you are your entire ecosystem is Apple has something called KeyPass, which comes with your computer and with your iPhone. So, I mean, there are many tools. Google has now one. I mean, it's just a lot of different tools out there. I would just, the only suggestion that I have is, there are many things where you can have free items. A password manager is one that I won't recommend you to have for free. Because, especially if you're going to be, using this to be the keeper of your password, you want to make sure that you invest. And it's just like $50 a year for a tool that is going to carry out that much information about you. So
that's key.
Yeah. And then
I think it's important, if I can add something, I think it's also important for, if while you're searching for things like that, I think you also become a target right there, because you're being tracked unless you're looking for these things under incognito. So that helps keep you not trackable. But make sure that whatever link you're clicking on, always write, like if you just hover over the link, you can see where it's going to take you. And if it's some sort of bit.ly link that they sent via text, or all of the things that Sandra just kind of covered, just don't click on it. Go directly to the source. Go to Carbonite, go to the password, rather than search it and then get sucked into who knows what.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Sandra, that was a fantastic piece of advice, Christina. Thank you. I'm going to try to do that, or start to do that. So I have the one that comes with Apple. So on my phone, it's the KeyPass, I think is what you called it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's safe to let that do it for you. And
yeah,
then,
the only issue is if you have other devices that are not Apple's, you can like cross with other devices. So that will make, things more complicated. If you are only one type of product, that will work.
So if it's probably not a good idea just to type all your passcodes in your notes in the phone.
No.
Take pictures of them.
Good idea.
Right.
No.
No.
Get one of those.
I don't think there's really a hell. I think it's just having to reset passwords and chase down passwords and circle back and kicked out, logged out, and shooting up fast. I just think that's going to be my HE double two fix.
Yeah, and a lot of companies, they make you change your password all of a sudden your password doesn't work, and that's a great idea. They make you change it. So, and then you don't remember that.
Never remember.
That's Netflix 1, Netflix 2, Netflix 3, Netflix 4, and you don't know what the hell password you had to
Right.
Yeah. So the other benefit of a password manager to that point is when you some of these tools, you put your email address, and that tool will search all the type of passwords or all the accounts that are associated with that email address. So there are things that you probably don't remember that you did many years ago. And you're like, oh, I have this account. Oh, I have this account. And it's an opportunity for you to also disable things that you don't have and just clean up. I mean, this moment that we're living where we, the world is like slowing down a little bit in some ways. It's a perfect opportunity to take care of that, take care of the basics and your cyber life. And a password manager, you invest a couple hours, but it's so worth it for the rest of, your cyber life.
Yeah, I have a bunch of applications on my password manager that I don't even know what they are anymore. So we got to go.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
I would recommend also, I mean, it's not really a question, it's just while we're kind of on these topics, I'll give two little tidbits that just my training gives me in that, like reputation management, every once in a while, just go and look up your name online.
Absolutely.
To top what Sandra's saying as well, to find out, oh, I don't remember opening that account, or how did I get in this directory listing, or whatever it is. Make sure that you're on top of what your name means. And if you haven't bought your domain name, your own name as a domain name, I would recommend doing that as well, because that could ruin you as well. And then kind of related, but just another thing is that when you get these robocalls, sometimes they're really good marketing tools, but sometimes they're just annoying. And if you, typically it's number 9. Most people just hang up disgusted that they've gotten a robocall. But if it's a legal one, they have to give you an opt-out. And if you do opt out, typically it's number 9. But if you wait long enough to wait for that opt-out number and then click that digit, that robo dialer cannot dial you any longer. It doesn't mean you're not on somebody else's list, but they have to opt you out by that point. So I don't know if those help, little tidbits kind of related.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I will say I have alerts in Google, so you could do that. That's a, thank you for that comment about Googling yourself and searching. And another way to do it is just create those alerts, so then you get active alerts every time someone uses your name. My advice would be, don't put a Google alert with your credit card information or your social security number or your driver license, nothing that personal, because it could be an issue too. And I will say, if you want to know if your if your email has been part of a data breach or your information have been hacked, there is a website called Have I Been Phoned, and I can maybe email you that. It's I don't know if I can type it in this
In the chat.
What we could do is, Sandra, when I post this on Facebook, we can put that in there. And we can also, if I want to also find out how we can help you, Sandra. So is there, what I could do is we can email out where they can find your book. And why don't you let us know how we can help you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just put it into the chat just to finish that. So that tool tells you if your email has been part of a breach. And if you find that out, that is the case, my suggestion is reset your password and change it. And if any of the accounts that have been compromised, it's one of your financial accounts, I will just suggest just create a separate email for your financial, for your banking, and for the things that are more sensitive, and keep that email separated from your regular email and just use it for those purposes. So that's one easy way to just keep that email off some lists or some possible locations that can easily be hacked or that have been hacked. So
Sandra, about what you just, excuse me one moment, what you just typed in, is that an app?
No, that's a website. Have I been phoned.com. I forgot to include the .com.
Have I been
phoned? P-W-N-E-D.
Oh, it's spelled phone.
It's spelled, yeah.
Okay, .com.
.com.
Yes. And what is the name of your book again?
So the name of my book is Happily Ever Cyber.
Nice.
Good job.
Thank you.
So do you recommend, Sandra, getting ourselves on one of those identity theft services?
Yes. Those services work, absolutely, but just think that they are more like an insurance. It's something that you might want to have, but when it happens, it's already, you're already, it's like if your house, if you don't put a lock in your house, if you don't fix the windows in your house, and, a tornado can come, destroy your house, and now you have insurance to claim. But, I will say fix the things that you can do in the daily, world, that they are going to help you to keep your cybersecurity or your cyber information more safe, and protect your family, protect your business, and protect your own information. I think the services work. If you have to go through that painful process, they'll make that easier for you, for sure.
I've had it for years, and I just feel more comfortable with it. It's not very expensive.
Exactly.
Or something like that. They're getting rich, but with all the millions of people.
Absolutely. But it's
I feel better.
But it's like any insurance. I don't feel comfortable living without insurance. Like insurance in my car, I pay for. Like I don't want anything to happen to my house. Right. Or to my car, and you pay for that peace of mind. Exactly. I do pay for those services too.
Yeah.
But if you rely, sometimes the confusion is that you rely on that service to protect you. and nobody's going to protect you. Yeah, you know, those services are more reaction to, you know, a problem that you have.
Your insurance. It's like when you get sick, you need insurance.
Yep.
Okay, so Sandra, we're, in the interest of time, we appreciate everyone's time tonight. How can we help you?
Well, so I will say, just give me a
Shout out.
a shout out, a shout out. You know, that would be great. That would be awesome. I created happilyevercyber.com, and I have the 3 steps you can download, you know, how to protect your identity. So if you want to go and see that, that would be awesome. And just I like to be connected. I in any way that I can help, just let me know. If there is any other question or anything that comes to your mind after this session, just reach out to me. You know, I'll help you in any way I can. And I appreciate each of you being here and taking the time. And again, you know, I say, you know, cybersecurity it's something that we need to make a second nature. You know, when you go into your computer, when you use your phone, you know, there are basic things that you do, like when you cross the street and you look both sides before you cross, you don't even think about that. In the same way, that's what I want to do with cybersecurity, and how can I help to make cybersecurity that second nature to you. So if you have feedback and how how can collaborate more with you, I'll be happy, you know, to hear that. And I again appreciate your questions, and thank you for your time.
What's the best way for everyone to reach you, Sandra?
So I am in all social media platforms. I mean, at way2protect.com. So I'm in Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. I'm starting right now my social media life in cybersecurity. I was very protected of my, but it's changing, obviously. It's changing now. So I'm going to become more and more active. So I would say you'll see more from me. I'll be doing more videos, more training, and more and more and more. And my goal is by the end of this year, I will have 3 more books published, because they are going to be more about the how. So just, you know, keep doing what I'm doing, just to make sure that there is enough information and that you can take the action in the things that you care to protect. So one of the principles that I have for my training is you cannot protect everything at once. So if you right now can just figure what is the most important thing in your life, start there and protect that. That could be, you know, that password, or that could be just one application or one database for your customers' data, or your kids' identity, whatever that is. Start, you know, protecting that, and then you go from there. So thank you again. And
Great.
yeah, so my website.
What's your website was it way2, the number 2, way2protect.com?
Way2protect is it's my social media handlers.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can send you all the social media and then you can share that. That would be easier.
Great. Cool. Well, thank you so much. What a, you know, chock-filled meeting. I mean, full of tips. And thank you for everyone who attended. We love our Value Added Tuesdays in the HeartLink Network, but we'll share this outside of the HeartLink Network too, so that more people can be blessed by the information that you shared with us. And we'll go look for your books, and you'll be a resource when we have questions. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ladies.
And have a good night. Oh, let me have a smile there. Smile. Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.